Hi, welcome back again. Wow. Two in two in a 1 week. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. We were gone for 2 weeks and now here we got one week and one the other week. Yay. So here I am back with Marlena MJ with the three silver strands. And today we're going to talk about what's your idol. I have, well, can I go first, Marlena and MJ?
Sure.
Okay, well, I had this amazing epiphany. It's like, I my friend came over. She wanted to take pictures, and I thought, sure. And ever since Christmas is just, I don't know what's been happening to me since before Christmas, but it just seems like my trips to the refrigerator and to the snack cupboard, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. And finally, she took pictures of me and she sent them to me. And she went, "Oh, aren't they great?" And "Oh, yes, they are." But it's like, "Oh my goodness, is that really me?" Oh my, MJ, what's up?
Oh, good. That was just snow falling off the roof. Sorry.
Oh, was that
I
really
know. It surprised me.
me? Wow. All our snow is gone. I'm so happy.
So sorry for the interruption.
Oh no, that's okay. That's what the three silver strands is all about. Just welcome to our lives. So anyway, so here I was that really me? So I have been on a take care of me, take care of my body, um, thing because
Binge.
binge because I've realized that food was actually my idol. I'm in the process of moving, making sure my house looks like a show home 24/7. Um, making sure my meals are so that the smells don't linger. I've been baking sourdough bread so my house smells like bread every day. So, when people come in, it's just like, and so that's what I do. I get stressed and then I eat rather than focusing on the Lord. And I thought, ah, bingo, Irene, wake up. Food has been my idol, like so many women. It's like, I don't know, like viewers, like, what are you like? Or like, what's your idol? I know
Mm.
that my idol is really, it's food. It's my comfort.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
Lord is with us, and it's like, what on earth was I thinking? So I
Well,
needed to repent of that.
yeah. Makes me think of my vision that the Lord gave me. And I'm seeing more and more that this vision isn't just for myself, it's just hopefully it will help others. I know I've shared it before, but it was the picture of the lounge chairs at the beach. And on the back of the chairs, there was three of them. In the back of the chairs was fear on one, doubt on the other, and then a combination of guilt and shame on the third chair. And when you see if you can visualize it, you see these three chairs facing the ocean on the beach, close to the water. They're comfortable. And I think if we stop and take a moment and think about the things that we allow to take camp in our thought process, in our emotions, in our actions, and everything. Um, it's kind of like sitting in these chairs. We're comfortable with where we're at, um, even though the word fear. When you see the word fear, you say, "Yep, I get it. That means that you're afraid, right?" And of course, then there's the other side, which we won't go there, but it's the fear of the Lord is a totally different thing. But in this case, it's being afraid, being concerned, being worried. You know, all those things that have to do with the setting of control. Like you have to have everything in control. That's a fear, and we can get comfortable in that. So these three chairs just made me realize that sometimes we don't realize that we have actually gotten comfortable with these ways. We're comfortable with the fears that we have. We're comfortable with being concerned about others. We're comfortable with the doubt, where are you sure, Lord? Like I was sharing before we were going live that last year I heard the Lord, oh, now I gotta say it. Now it's out there. Talk about comfort, right? Um, it's not about the cup. I enjoy my little ritual, especially during the summer. I would make my cup of coffee, go sit out on the porch and have a little chat with God and do my writing and search the word and everything. I really enjoyed it. But whether it be me or whether it be that he was the one that was saying it, I don't know. But it was back off on the coffee. And I thought, are you sure, Lord? I mean, this goes with my little everyday thing. I love to make coffee and sit with you and do my writing. Like, no, it can't be you. I mean, it's just the enemy, just, trying to get in there and I'm doubting, like I'm doing this doubting thing. And it's not about the cup. It's about the doubt and it's not about the doubt. It's more or less giving that up and saying, God, I stand in your love. So here's another thing, a layer of love. Like lots of times when you hear the word love, you think of hearts, you think of rainbows, you think of hugs, you think, all of that. But love is such a power that we can't even comprehend the depth of it. But that at the same time, God desires that, like what I read to you guys, the back of this, it says, and I pray that you and all God's holy people will have the power to understand the greatness of Christ's love, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep that love is. And that God's love is greater than anyone can ever know. And that I pray that you will be able to know that love. And it's like these things, fear, the chair of fear, the chair of doubt, the chair of guilt and shame, the guilt and the shame of feeling those things that we're walking in them. I do the things that I don't want to do, and I don't do the things that I do, I want to do, right? We have this battle. But it's in the meantime, God's saying, I'm here always. I'm here always. I'm here always. Like we can just say, enough is enough. I don't want these comfy chairs. And I ask that you, more tumbling there happening, wash over me with your love, your power of love. That's the power of love. Anyways, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can turn these things into our idols, and when we get comfortable with them, that's when we have to stop and say, okay, who's first in my life? Is it the food?
Mhm.
Is it the doubt? Is it the fear? Is it the guilt, the shame? Is it my need to have to do everything in order? Is it, there's so many things that we don't realize that we can put before him. And we just have to die daily to ourselves and leave it at his feet and let him. Lots of times I'm finding myself more and more now just saying, Lord, what is it that you want me to say? What is it that you want me to do? I don't want to say or do anything out of your will. I want you to speak. Take the coal, cleanse my lips, and let me speak whatever it is that you want to speak. And even if we think that we don't, there's his love again. He washes it over. Love covers over a multitude of sin. Love conquers all. It's all about love conquering that idol that we can pull down every stronghold that keeps us bound to that. And even the attitude, how we feel, when you go to the refrigerator and you're like, oh, that right there, you have to turn it around and say, oh, well, today I recognized it. Even if you do go after it, you can just lift up your countenance. All you saints of God, right? You lift your countenance by saying, not my will be done, but your will be done. This is where I'm at. I still have my coffee, but yet I know that you love me so much that you're patient and you're kind and you're faithful and you're continually washing over those fears, those doubts, those guilts, those shames. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's
Like
a
last week,
comedian.
oh,
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead, Irene.
Oh, well, like last week I was saying the Ephesians 5 and we looked it up, the exact wording, be imitators of God, therefore, as dearly loved children.
Yes.
So
What did I?
that's what we need to remember for ourselves as well. Just a repeat um, of that and just drill it in our minds as dear.
Yeah, and verse 2 of that, it says, and walk in love as Christ also has loved us and given himself for us. And we know that we can't do anything without him, right? Any act that we do is already an idol. It's already an act that is over him. When we all he says is to abide in him, that we humble ourselves, that we lean on him. So whenever we do that, we're putting him first rather than the
Mhm.
do's that we do. We're human beings for a reason, we're to be still and know that he is God. I think Irene mentioned that on one of the videos previously, to be still and know that he is God. And even in our struggles of, the food thing, because I'm guilty as charged, because I know that I don't eat very well, but yet at the same time, our countenance is important, just as important as our act of trying to stop it. And that they're right there. We're trying to do it, but we're trying to do it in our own selves. And when we can look at our countenance to reflect being the imitator of God, that we can, abide in him and rest in him and know that the water is going to come. It's going to wash it, wash it. It's just, he's so good. He's just so faithful. And
Sure is.
yeah. How about you, Marlena?
Yeah.
Quiet
Um,
Marlena today.
I have an addiction to sugar, and it feeds me when I am super stressed or when I have fight or flight reflexes. I immediately go to sugar. When we first adopted children, one of the things that they said was if they're having a meltdown, if they're um, having some sort of an issue or whatever, immediately give them sugar, because what it does is you can train them to do what you want them to do with the sugar. The problem is by training them with the sugar, what you're doing is you're causing an everlasting reaction in their body to not be able to do anything without it. And I've just known that in my own body as well. And so when you have fight or flight reflexes and you're the the instantaneous reaction for me is we have to make this fun. So fun for me is enjoying a soda with friends or ice cream or whatever. Now that I'm allergic to a long list of foods that I never wanted to be allergic to, and many of them are healthy, uh, I have a really hard time having fun with food. And I've never drank coffee in my life. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink tea. I don't eat chocolate. Um, so it would seem like sugar might not be a big big deal. But for me, my go-to is a can of Pepsi, um, or an ice cream cone at Dairy Queen. It used to be donuts or cake, those kinds of things. And now that I'm allergic to yeast and other things that are in those items, I can't have most of those things anymore. So my Pepsi is really my go-to. And I feel like if I just even have one can a day, it's enough for me. It's not the caffeine, it's the bubbles, it's the sugar. If I just had one a day, it should be fine. But there are times when I certainly hear the Holy Spirit say, put it down. And when we're not reluctant, or when we are reluctant to put it down and not do what the Lord is asking us to do, we're not dying to ourselves. And it's a really hard shift to make in your life when you know that this is something that you are struggling to let go of for God. And how horrible is that, in our hearts to say, God, that I need this more than I need you. And so it's it's a hard place to sit when you know God is calling you out on it. It's really easy to ignore it. It's really easy to go, well, God didn't say that. God didn't say you can't have one, you know. But when you know it's harming your body, or your mind, or even your heart attitude towards the Lord, it doesn't really matter what it is or how many it is. What matters is if God said put it down this time, it doesn't mean he's going to say put it down every time. It just means put it down this time. I don't think that a cup of coffee is our end all, or even a soda is our end all. But I do think that if you have a severe addiction, to something that really controls everything you do, it can be a cup of coffee, as simple as that, or as simple as a soda. But sometimes it's usually a lot more. And I think we have to really watch our heart attitude on that. God's been really working on that with me a lot lately, and just making sure that I'm hearing what he has to say. And sometimes I don't want to hear it. Sometimes I just want that Pepsi. And having one Pepsi a day still adds to the pounds that I carry around for the rest of the year, you know. And if I'm frustrated that I've gained weight, then I only have myself to blame. And if I put it down, then I'm honoring the Lord in what he's asked me to do for the day. And I just try to take it one day at a time. So it's kind of where I'm at. I'm also addicted to perfectionism, and which makes other people look at me and think that I do things a very different way than everybody else. And it's just not true, you know, because of perfectionism. What it does is it causes me to um, want it to be perfect so much that it doesn't get to be perfect at all. And I have to step back and recognize that, the pile on the desk is not going to be the end of the world today. And maybe the pile sits on the desk for 30 days. And that might be the end of some situations that needed to be addressed because the pile sat there for too long. But perfectionism can be a real hang up too. And so sometimes it's not even a physical thing that we hold on to. Sometimes it's a very heart felt issue that we need to deal with, because um, we need to be more kind to ourselves and love ourselves for who God made us to be, and recognize that God's ultimately in control. So when we do that, then it's a lot easier to let go of those things, you know?
Yeah, I think we, um, if we're able to, and we are, because with God all things are possible, especially when they have to do with his word, that if we would clothe ourselves with his truth, right? Just like the armor, we have the mind of Christ, which is the helmet of salvation. So we purposely put the mind of Christ on. So we're always thinking, what, remember the back in the day when they would say, what would Jesus do? It's like, what does he say in his word? What is it? They're There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So when we're walking in these struggles, when we're walking in the, the what I should have, could have, whatever, that we again purpose to say, you know what? I'm resting in you. I'm resting that you just love me where I am. I'm resting in that. 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We want to be made perfect in love. And when we have these struggles, when we have these lows, when we have these walls that we feel like we're supposed to be taking the bricks down and pushing the wall down, again, it's in our own effort. And God is just looking at us saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. He doesn't see our imperfection because we're made in his image. He sees himself. He sees Jesus, like we're the reflection of, of who he is. And we're made perfect through him.
Mhm.
Love, again, covers over a multitude of sin. And when we get into that place that I really should be doing this, that's when we're saying that it's okay, God, you just sit over there to the side, and once I get this all straightened out, then I'll come to you. And it's like, no, no, come just as you are.
Mhm.
My yoke is easy, my burden is light. And I think keeping our countenance at a place where we're content with where we are is the sweet spot, that we're not going to fret over our idols that we're thinking that we're holy. We're not going to fret over it, because that means that we're punishing ourselves. And God already did that through his son. God didn't do that. Jesus allowed himself to be upon the cross to take on all of our sins. He became sin
Yeah.
so that we would know righteousness. And yet, even though we live in this human body, we're always going to have the struggles of the prince of this air, and for every little second that we declare Jesus over this situation, Jesus is Lord of my family, Jesus is Lord over my, and don't even claim it. Addiction is not yours. It was put under the blood. It's the enemy's. And you can say, find scriptures that you can just wash over that, and don't even allow it to be part of your vocabulary. It's the stronghold that wants to keep you focused on your earthly matters. And God's saying, no, I'm bringing you higher, because my ways are higher, my thoughts are higher. And my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. And so long as we keep going and saying, okay, yes, Lord,
So
I'm not even going to give any more credit to this thing
right.
anymore. It almost, if you really do that, you can feel the peace that passes all understanding reside in you, and almost like a relaxation. And what an amazing thing that God has done with this body, when we deal with cortisol, when we deal with dopamine, when we deal with melatonin, these are all the things that are outputs from when we allow him to be the input um, to our daily lives. Put him first, seek him first, and all these other things will be added unto you. And that goes with children, with that when we have our struggles and we can put our children in front of us, and it can be an idol.
Yeah.
Because we think that we need to, again, going back to that little scene that Marlene talked about in a couple episodes before, when you're in an airplane that's starting to go down, the first thing you want to do is put the gas mask on. Did I say that right? Air mask, not gas mask. I suppose it's called that, but you want to put the mask on for yourself so that you be there for others. Well, what is the mask? Jesus. Jesus is the mask, like he is the way, the truth, and the life. And when we put him first, there's an honor system that happens. When we honor him,
Right.
That's so true.
he will, the honor is going to flow, and our bodies are going to feel that. Physically, we're going to feel that. I mean, we're in a war, we have an enemy, and that enemy is trying to kill, steal, and destroy in whatever way he can. And we just have to put him first.
Okay, you know what? We're going to have to end here. But so thank
Yay.
you so much, MJ and Marlena. And so I'm just going to end here and we'll see you again next week.
Blessings.
Bye.
Bye.